before her name became a curse spoken with fear, before her face was carved into shields and temples, before mothers warned their children not to stare, Medusa existed quietly, not loudly, not gloriously. She did not demand attention from the world or the gods. She simply lived. Medusa was born under a sky that did not yet know her fate. Of the three Gorgon sisters, she alone was mortal. Stheno and Uriel never feared time. They never watched their hands age. They never felt the sharp, private knowledge that one day they would die. Medusa did. And mortality shapes a person differently. She learned to treasure small things. The sound of waves striking rock at dawn, the ritual of brushing her hair in the temple courtyard, the comfort of routine. While her sisters existed in divine permanence, Medusa learned patience. She learned devotion. She learned restraint. Athena's temple became her world. It stood tall and immaculate, its columns cutting the sky into clean, perfect lines. Inside, everything echoed. Footsteps, prayers, even thoughts. Medusa rose before sunrise to wash the floors, to tend the offerings, to dress the statue of the goddess she served. She took her vows seriously. Chastity was not a burden to her. It was identity, purpose, safety. The temple was meant to be inviolable. That was the lie. The gods noticed Medusa not because she sought them, but because they always notice what is unguarded. Poseidon, god of the sea, god of storms, god of appetite, saw her not as a priestess, but as an opportunity. Power does not ask permission, it assumes it. He followed the tide inland. The night he came, the temple was quiet. The lamps burned low. Marble held the days cold. When Medusa realized she was not alone, it was already too late for prayers to matter. The violation happened beneath Athena's gaze. Stone eyes staring forward, unmoving, eternal. The goddess did not turn her head. The walls did not crumble. The altar did not crack. The gods are very good at witnessing without intervening. When Poseidon left, the sea withdrew, as if nothing had happened. Medusa stayed where she was, hands shaking, breath broken, staring at the ceiling she had cleaned 1,000 times. She waited for justice, for wrath, for meaning. What came instead was judgment. Athena arrived not with comfort, but with precision. Her anger was cold, surgical. It did not roar, it calculated, and like most divine punishment, it did not fall upon the powerful. It fell upon the available. Medusa was accused of defilement, of vanity, of daring to exist beautifully in a world ruled by gods. The transformation was not instant. It was deliberate. Her hair twisted slowly, each strand thickening, splitting, writhing into living serpents. They hissed and coiled, confused and furious, mirrors of her own fear. Her skin hardened, growing cool and alien beneath her fingers. Her eyes burned, not with fire, but with something worse, permanence. Athena did not kill her. That would have been mercy. Instead, she cursed her, with a gaze that destroyed anything it met. No one would ever touch Medusa again. No one would ever come close enough to hurt her. The cruelty lay in the disguise of protection. Medusa fled the city before dawn. She did not rage. She did not seek revenge. She ran, because that is what the cursed do when they are still human inside. She crossed coastlines where the wind cut sharp and relentless, where even birds seemed to avoid the sky above her. She found a cave at the edge of the world, where the sun barely reached and the land felt forgotten. There, she learned the rules of her new existence. She could not look directly at living things. She memorized the cave by touch, the rough stone walls, the uneven ground, the damp chill that never fully left. She learned to move with her head bowed, eyes averted. The snakes on her scalp became her constant companions, terrible, intimate reminders of what she had lost. Visitors came, not to help, to conquer. Men arrived with swords and stories. They came seeking glory, proof, immortality through violence. They never announced themselves. They never asked who she was. They looked and became stone. Their final expressions remained forever: shock, terror, confusion. Over time, the cave filled with statues, warriors frozen mid-step, faces locked in their last mistake. Medusa stopped counting them. She stopped crying after a while. Loneliness reshapes pain into something quieter. Medusa spoke aloud just to hear her voice echo back. She remembered songs from her childhood, prayers she once whispered to Athena. Sometimes she still prayed, out of habit, not hope. No answer ever came. She became a myth while still alive, a monster, a warning, a destination, and myths erase context. Perseus arrived prepared. He was different from the others, not braver, but better equipped. The gods favored him. They always do when destruction serves their image. He carried tools designed specifically for her death. A mirrored shield, so he would never have to meet her eyes. Winged sandals to approach without sound. A blade sharp enough to end a life without hesitation. Medusa sensed him too late. She turned instinctively, hoping, perhaps foolishly, that this one might speak, might hesitate, might see her as more than a task. He did not. He watched her reflection, distorted and distant, and struck. The blade fell once. Her death was quick, quiet, unceremonious. From her blood sprang monsters and miracles, because even in death, the gods demanded spectacle. Perseus took her head, still powerful, still dangerous, still useful. Medusa's body was left behind in the cave, among the statues of those who had never tried to understand her. Athena mounted Medusa's severed face upon her shield. The goddess wore the curse proudly, transforming Medusa's suffering into a symbol of power and fear. The world called it justice. The bards called it triumph. No one called it what it was. Medusa did not fall because she was evil. She did not die because she was monstrous. She suffered because she was mortal, in a world ruled by gods who never face consequences. And so her story survives, not as a lesson about monsters, but about silence, about how easily victims are reshaped into villains, about how power writes history and pain becomes decoration. If you listen carefully, beyond the stone and snakes and legends, you can still hear her story beneath the myth, not screaming, not cursing, just asking to be remembered as she was.